What's up, guys? And sorry I was gone for a while because I was out of town, so I couldn't really make videos. But today I'm back and I am going to rank all the MCU movies from worst to best. And it's changed a little bit, but not quite. Like, there's some stuff like some stuff hasn't changed, but some stuff has. But my list isn't the right list. We just have our own opinions, and if you are welcome to share your opinions down below, because that's like the fun part, because it's great to argue with this list, because these are great movies. I'm a big fan of the MCU, and I don't really hate these movies. It's just the fact that I just need it. Sometimes I just have to put them that low. It's really tough. Coming in last place is Iron Man 2. This movie has to be really low because I don't really hate it, but I just had to put it down here because it has way too many plots. It doesn't focus on a single plot. If it just had one, this movie would have been way higher, but it just has so many plots, especially with one of the weakest villains in the MCU, Whiplash. He's not really a bad villain, but I just disliked him. And the final battle, the third act, that's where it started to shine a little bit, but the third act did not make it better. And the fact that it doesn't even focus on the plot, it just has way too many plots. And I really love Justin Hammer. He's really great in this movie, but I just had to put this one low. Number 22, Thor: The Dark World. This is the same as the last ranking that I did, and these two movies are in the same spot, but I just love this one slightly better. It's because at least it actually does focus on the plot, on the main thing. It's not like Iron Man 2, and it has a weak villain too, which is Malekith. No one really loves Malekith. And this is easily the weakest Thor movie, and the second weakest MCU movie in the whole franchise, because the relationship between Jane Foster and Thor is boring. I hate when they just go to Earth. It could be interesting, and I love how it shows the Infinity Stone, but it just focuses on this Asgard, space, Asgard. Well, not space, Asgard, Earth, Asgard, Earth. And it's not like the first movie, when the whole movie just takes place on Earth. And I just have fun with this movie. It's really entertaining. The plot isn't that great, but it's better than Iron Man 2. But I just had to put this one in last place. And speaking of Thor has to be number one. And I was talking about Thor, the movie just certainly falls. It's great for this. I love the origin story of Thor and stuff, and the fact that he his powers, his worthiness is gone. He's an Earth, and then he meets these people like Jane Foster, and then it usually takes place on Earth until the last final battle, which wasn't even that great. And I saw this movie a few months ago. I enjoyed it, but it just fell flat like a pancake when they were just in Earth. If it was more on Asgard, the movie would have probably been a little bit better. But this is why it just had to be in number 21. But it's better than Thor: The Dark World, but it just had to be here because the plot, it could have been better. Number 20 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And I don't really hate this movie, but James Gunn he did not his directing is awesome in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, but this one just fell flat. And I thought it was a bland movie. The storyline with Ego was weak, and it's just a weird movie. To me, it's disgusting because the fact that Ego dated other creatures and made children and killed them just because they didn't have powers. In the plot, the first act was alright until we get to the second and third act. That's when it fell a little flat. The second act was definitely the worst act in the movie. That's when it started getting slow, and throughout the whole movie, you're supposed to think Ego's the good guy, but then when we just get into the third act, we already know he's the bad guy. We had to wait that long, and I like how they were going for that plot twist, but I just felt like it just fell flat, and I expected this movie to be better than the first one, but nah. The first one beats Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And the directing in this is amazing, bright colors, but I just think it could have done a little bit better. And Ego isn't really a bad villain, don't get me wrong, but this one just fell flat. Number 19, I don't know if this changed, but it's Avengers Age of Ultron. And I really enjoyed this movie. The Battle of Sokovia is great, but my only issues is Ultron. They didn't take the character too seriously. I wish he was just, the voice acting is great. Sometimes the CGI, looked kind of terrible. And, he was a little goofy. Ultron, if you tell me the Ultron I wanted to see was dark, the dark humor character. That's the Ultron I want to see. It's a dark humor. But this one just has a goofy humor to it, and that's not the Ultron we know. We want to see a serious Ultron, and especially when he just drops the jokes, it doesn't land at all. But overall, I really love these new characters. We get Vision, we get Scarlet Witch, we get Quicksilver, we get Claw, and I really love these characters. And the Battle of Sokovia, like I said, one of the best action sequences. I love the first act when it just starts off with a battle already, and it's great. But this one just had to be at number 19 just because of Ultron. If Ultron had a darker humor, I think this movie could have landed a little bit better. Could have been a little bit higher, at least the top 15, which we're close to. But this is why it just has to be at number 19. Number 18, this changed. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel isn't really a bad film. I just thought it didn't really focus on Carol Danvers' origin story. All we know is that she's just a girl. And we legit had to wait almost an hour just to know how Carol got her powers. And I legit thought that it would just start off with her joining the Air Forces and then just getting her powers. I thought it would start off with that, but no, it just doesn't really focus on her origin story. And Yon-Rogg isn't really a bad villain, especially the fact that we thought the Skrulls were the villains the whole time, but apparently the Kree was lying the whole time, messing with her mind, and apparently they were the villains. But the fact that they mess with Carol's mind, the second act fell a little flat. The first act, it was okay. The third act, it was alright too. But this one just landed flat. It's a bland movie, but Brie Larson's performance is great, and Talos, he's really good. He's really funny. I really love his character, and especially Samuel L. Jackson. Just to see him young, which is cool. I really love that we get to see that. So yeah, Zem and Goose the Cat, which is some fun, charming scenes. And this movie could be fun and charming. It's entertaining, but it's just a bland movie. Number 17, Iron Man 3. I watched this movie yesterday, and I really love this movie. It's not as bad as you think. If you just give this movie a rewatch, it's gonna be probably better the second time. If you've only seen this movie once, go ahead, buy the Blu-ray, buy it on freaking digital, whatever. I don't think you can, but watch this movie, give it a chance. It's really cool. We get to see the action sequences in this are great, the house attack. The dialogue is phenomenal, and the storyline lands pretty great. It's not really a bland, flat movie, but you know, the action sequences shine on there. Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in this is amazing, and I just enjoyed the kid that played Harley. He was really cool. And yeah, we get to see some new characters. The villain in this is weak, probably weaker than Whiplash, but this movie is definitely better than Iron Man 2. I'm gonna be completely honest there. The final battle with all the suits and stuff, and I just enjoyed this movie. It's fun to watch. If you love action movies and superhero movies, this is like a movie to watch. Usually when I watch rankings, people put this movie like on their top 10, but this one is just so close to top 15. But it's Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't think this has changed at all. Spider-Man Homecoming is a really great film, I have to admit, and you know, we get to see Tom Holland's performance, and we finally get to see a solo Spider-Man movie in the MCU, not in out of all the other Spider-Man movies. This is definitely not the first one, but the first Spider-Man movie in the MCU. But this movie did not land quite, and I do love it more than Iron Man 3 and Captain Marvel, because I just love how I just love Tom Holland's performance. Tom Holland shines. If it wasn't Tom Holland, I don't think this would be that high, but Tom Holland is great. We get new characters, especially the you know, we have the suit was made by Tony Stark. I've heard people don't like that at all. And people might have thought this would be like an Iron Man movie, but it's a really great, Spider-Man movie if you tell me, but I just thought it just did not land, but I think it's way better because it focuses on the plot even more. It has great action sequences, especially at that at Washington DC, but especially when they're going to the trip, that's when it just falls flat. And that's when I think it just starts to get really slow in the second act. But other than that, I love Spider-Man Far From Home, but something was just off about it. But I just enjoyed it more than Iron Man 3 and Captain Marvel, to be completely honest. That's why it has to be at number 16. Number 15, an underrated movie in the MCU, which is The Incredible Hulk. If you tell me, I enjoyed this movie. I really love it, especially the action sequences, and this shines. The atmosphere to it is great. Either the thing that just bothers you and bothers me is that it's not Mark Ruffalo, and this may look like it's not really part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it is. Just deal with it. And I love this movie. It's a really underrated movie. People usually put it really low, but in my personal opinion, I really love The Incredible Hulk, especially that fight with the Abomination versus Hulk in New York. That was badass, and yeah, that's what makes this movie better. If it didn't have that final battle, I don't know where this movie would land, but this is why it has to land at number 15. And by the way, Edward Norton's performance is great. He's not that great like Mark Ruffalo is. I wish Mark Ruffalo played the role in here. But, you know, Edward Norton, he's an underrated Hulk, and especially this movie in general. But this movie has to land here because I especially love this movie. I just love this movie. I hate that they have to say that it's one of the worst MCU films, but it's actually not. Number 14, Ant-Man. This movie is charming, it's fun, especially the third act in this movie is phenomenal. And just to start off the franchise of Ant-Man, I think it's a pretty good movie. To me, it's like a parody of a superhero movie. It's just a criminal that just decides to be the hero. And the plot in this is amazing, especially that funny, corny fight scene against Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man in the playroom and stuff. That was amazing. And you know, I just love how it focuses a lot on Scott Lang, and I really love Paul Rudd's performance in this movie. I thought he shined on here, and I thought this movie was cute. You know, it's funny, especially those Luis moments. I really love Michael Pena's character on here. It was amazing. The cast is great. The action sequences is great, and the comedy and the charm is there, and I just enjoyed Ant-Man. That's why it has to land at number 14. Number 13, Captain America. The Winter Soldier. This may shock lots of y'all, but if y'all seen my other ranking, you know I put this movie on number 13, I believe. And no, I do not hate this movie. I just think it doesn't land. But I thought it was kind of better than Homecoming and Ant-Man. But especially Bucky Barnes. I think he was the best character in the movie. I really love his dark humor, the fact that they brainwashed him. The plot in this is amazing, but it's a movie I wouldn't really watch that often. And I just loved Civil War. I really love how we start off with an action sequences like in the fight at the boat and stuff. We have Black Widow, we have Nick Fury, and everyone does a really great job, especially Chris Evans' performance in this movie. That like for a sequel, I think it's really good. And this movie has high stakes. I enjoyed it. The action sequences on here is great, especially the fact that Steve Rogers is confused that what happened to Bucky, why he's acting like this, is because they made him into a Winter Soldier. And I just think those parts are interesting about Bucky Barnes turning into the Winter Soldier. But yeah, Bucky Barnes is amazing. Or the Winter Soldier. That's what makes this movie 10 times better. Especially that final battle in like the plane. Was it a plane? I think. And stuff like that. But I really love this movie. It's great. It's decent. Number 12. Captain America, the First Avenger. This movie shines for me. I just thought it was just a little bit more better than Captain America, Winter Soldier. And the reason why I put this one like higher than Winter Soldier is because I just thought the origin story of Steve Rogers was great. That he's just a scrawny kid from Brooklyn, and he just decides to be a soldier. And especially it takes place in World War II. That's where it kicks off. I thought that was amazing. Peggy Carter is great. Red Skull is a really good villain. I really love Red Skull. But I think Bucky Barnes or Winter Soldier is actually a better villain than Red Skull. But Red Skull, the guy that played Red Skull did do a great performance. But I really love the origin story to this. The plot twist is great. It's great to start off the Captain America franchise by just a kid from Brooklyn. Just be's a great soldier and a great hero, and I just love everything about that. Next is Ant-Man and the Wasp. I like this slightly better than the First Avenger, especially because this is like I love a duo movie, and I like how Hope becomes the Wasp. Michael Douglas' performance in this is great, especially that post-credit scene when they get snapped and Ant-Man is stuck in the quantum realm. And Paul Rudd shines in this movie. He does really great. I thought his performance was 10 times better than his performance in Ant-Man. And I really hope they make an Ant-Man 3. But this one just had to land on number 11. So close to the top 10. But it's just for a great film, it's good for a sequel. I really love these movies. I really love these Ant-Man movies. I can't wait what they do with Ant-Man in the future. I want to see more of Ant-Man because Ant-Man is a great hero. Michael Peña's performance is awesome, and the cast is great. The action sequences, especially when Ghost is a great villain. I really love Ghost. She's all right, but I think she's just better than Yellow Jacket. But I love Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's a great film. Kicking off to the top 10, exactly, Black Panther. When I rewatched this movie, I was like, wow, this is great. Chadwick Boseman did a really great job, but there's issues with this movie, like the CGI is weak. But if you ignore the CGI, this movie is actually great. The battle in Wakanda and stuff, it has really great villain. Killmonger, I thought he was great, especially these characters. Michael B. Jordan is he's awesome, and they just picked the right cast. And this isn't Black Panther's first movie. I think his first movie was Civil War, just like Spider-Man. But this movie, sometimes it's like a movie I wouldn't be in the mood for. But it's a really great action movie, but the CGI is really terrible, I have to admit there. But yeah, I really love Black Panther, but this one just had to be at exactly a top 10. I think it was number 8 last time, but this one is just hits top 10 just because of the cast and the action sequences. But if you ignore the bad CGI, yeah, this movie's great. Number 9, Doctor Strange. I really love Doctor Strange. When I first watched it, I was surprised. I was like, wow, this movie's actually really good. The fact that this guy, this guy named Stephen Strange, I think that was his name. Stephen Strange? Yeah, he's just a doctor, but then he sort of becomes an asshole. And especially the Ancient One, she's really great in this movie. We get really good characters. The cast is great, especially when Stephen Strange learns how to be, how to have those magical powers, especially that plot twist that is kind of like Iron Man, just with magic. If you love magic movies, watch this movie, and superheroes, I recommend this movie. It's not a bad movie. It's actually really great. The action sequences, it's a really trippy movie though, especially that final battle. I really love it, but it has mixed aspects, but yeah, the atmosphere to the movie is amazing. I really love Doctor Strange, and Benedict Cumberbatch is a really good Doctor Strange. His performance was great. That's why this lands number 9. Number 8, Iron Man 2008. The first Iron Man. This one definitely beats Iron Man 2 and 3. I love Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr.'s performance is great. The movie that started it all. People might have this higher. I have this at number 8. Y'all would probably have it in the top 5. But I think Iron Man is just great. But I find it entertaining, if you tell me. And, the first act, it was a little boring, but then in the second and third act, that's when the movie gets better. It shines. The dialogue is amazing. This is a great movie to start off the MCU. I enjoyed this film, and yeah, that's why this is at number 8. Number 7, Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok, this movie is great, especially the action sequences. The comedy, the comedy is great. The fact that they changed Thor's character, this is 10 times better than the first Thor and Thor the Dark World. This movie will never disappoint me. It's a really good film, especially Hela, and the plot twist to this is great. We get Heimdall back, he did a really good job, Heimdall. But yeah, the final battle and stuff, we get, Loki when he finally turns into a good guy, and we get, I think, a new character. Was he a new character? I think Scourge, Hela, Thor's sister, long-lost sister, and she's, evil, and especially Hela, she's a really great villain. I really enjoyed her performance in this movie. Hela, she's amazing, and yeah. And especially, Thor doesn't really have his hammer. He's less powerful in this movie. But at least, Chris Hemsworth's performance was amazing. Let's be honest there. That's why this lands at number 7. Number 6 has to be Avengers. The movie, it didn't really start at all, but this isn't phase 1. But the movie that started it all with characters coming back. And then we get 3 other movies, and this was a long journey with this franchise. And I really love Avengers. We get to see Hulk, all of our favorite superheroes in this movie. And I really enjoyed this movie. In the first act, it's really slow. Where's the action? It's really slow. But till we get to the second act, that's when the movie shines. And then the third act, the Battle of New York, is amazing. And I really love the villain. It was especially the wormhole thing. And then after, Iron Man gets PTSD in Iron Man 3, which I forgot I mentioned. But this is Avengers, and I thought this was really great just to end phase 1. I really love Avengers. I would really watch this movie. Captain America Civil War is number 5. We're kicking off to the top 5, especially when we get these heroes, especially the action sequences in this is great. when we get to see our heroes fight, and it's a really different type of movie. It's not just the solo movie of Captain America. We have Tony Stark and the like storyline that they're both wrong. Baron Zemo doesn't really shine in this movie. I wish he was more to this. He's not a villain with superpowers or anything. He's just a guy trying to break the Avengers apart, killing people and stuff. But I really loved his performance in this movie. It was actually really great. But Captain America Civil War is awesome. The airport scene is phenomenal. The airport fight scene is phenomenal. That's the scene I will always be waiting for when I watch this movie. But I really love Captain America Civil War. Number 4, Avengers Infinity War. Y'all might be putting this in the top 2, top 3. Number 1, this one has to be a number 4, especially when we get an ending when it's not supposed to be, oh, this is the best ending ever. It's not. You're supposed to realize that it's not supposed to be a great ending. It's just ending with people just fading away, because I love the plot to this movie, because Thanos finally does what he wants to do, collecting the Infinity Stones to wipe out half of the universe, and I just love how it focuses on that well. And Thanos is like the most messed up villain in the MCU yet. Let's be honest there, but he's nothing with the stones, but he's more powerful with all 6 stones, and just decides to wipe out the whole universe, and all of our favorite heroes just got dusted. So yeah, I really love the plot. The action sequences is great, especially, but my main issue was Vision. I wish Paul Bettany did a better job, but that's just a small detail. But I really love Avengers Infinity War. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was probably Marvel's biggest risk yet. We get these characters, you're like, who the hell are they? And then when you see it, you're gonna say, this movie's gonna suck, this movie is gonna be trash. And then when you watch it, the movie proves you wrong. And this is why it has to be at number 3. It just has to land here. I can't put it any lower, but this one just has to be higher on my list, because James Gunn's directing, and this is amazing. The characters are great. We get Chris Pratt, we get Dave Bautista, we get Bradley Cooper, Zoe Saldana. We get really great characters, especially Vin Diesel as Groot, and especially that sad sequence in the movie when when Groot sacrifices for his friends. It was really sad. I teared up and stuff, but I really love Guardians of the Galaxy. Especially the villain, Ronan, he's alright. I think Ego's a little bit better. But this movie has high stakes, and definitely better than the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But yeah, I really love Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, top 2. Let's go. Number 2 is Spider-Man Far From Home. Oh, this was a hard choice, because when I saw this movie, I thought it was great, the fact that Peter Parker just wants to go on a trip, doesn't want to be Spider-Man for a while, until we get these monsters called the Elementals, and then we get a new guy called Mysterio trying to team up with Spider-Man and beat the Elementals. But it turns out the whole Elemental things and the whole Mysterio thing was all a lie. It was just a normal guy doing this for fame. Spider-Man has to stop him, and then the plot twist to this is great, especially the action sequences. But this one was a hard choice, because I was like, do I love this more than Endgame? Yes or no? But I just had to put this one at number 2. It was a really hard choice, to be honest. I love Spider-Man Far From Home. I had a great time just staring at the screen for 2 hours and 9 minutes. Just looking at the screen and with fun, charming comedy, action sequences, everything about this movie is great. This is definitely a 10 out of 10, but I really love Tom Holland's performance. It's probably his best performance yet, one of his best performances in the MCU, let's be honest here. But yeah, hands down, this beats Homecoming, this beats other movies, except for this one. This Far From Home couldn't stand a chance against this movie. Number one, I haven't mentioned it yet. Avengers Endgame. This had to stay at number one. And it probably always will be. Let's be honest here. Like, hands down, this is the best MCU movie. You may not agree. You don't have to say this is the best movie just because I say it. It has to be your opinion. This isn't a fact. I just love Avengers Endgame. People might put it around like at number 5 or something, but I put this at number 1 because it's emotional. We finally get to see the heroes win. In the previous movie, it just has like Thanos winning, but now we get to see the heroes win. The time traveling thing, they could have like explained that a little bit more, but we have some sad deaths like Tony Stark's death. We get Black Widow's death and stuff, and especially when Captain America retires. This is the most like fun, epic, emotional movie. The action sequences are great, especially when Captain America gets Mjolnir, and you know, we get to see different character humors. Like Thor, he just gave up. He's just like a fat guy now. Captain America still want to do his thing. Tony Stark has a family. He has a kid, and he doesn't really want to be Iron Man anymore because he has to focus on other things in life that are like personal and stuff. But you know, everyone gathers up. We get the best final battle in the whole MCU franchise. Like the whole Avengers Assemble thing, oh my god, it's great. Like there's like no doubt I will change this movie. I hope I don't change this movie ever, because this movie has to stay at number 1 because it's an epic, emotional movie with the best action sequences yet in the MCU. That's why this had to land at number 1. Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Put your rankings, and you know, we don't all have the same rankings. It's just our opinion. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Way too long, so deal with it. But peace out, guys. I'll see you guys next time.